Morning, everyone. I'll do a few domestics before we begin broadcasting, as it's grandly called. Just to say that my name's Neil Stewart, and I'll be chairing today's events. We're not expecting a fire drill, so if the fire alarm goes off, follow the little green men signs outside and assemble at the front door. If you have a mobile phone, those of us on the platform have to switch them off, but for the rest of you, there is a hashtag and you can tweet and exercise social media to your heart's content. There are people watching from all around the country. You know, there are, yes, definitely, and I know who they both are. So the way that these kind of online broadcasts work is that all of you have had the links and things, and of course you'll have circulated to them to friends and family and colleagues. In practice, relatively small numbers actually watch the on-demand. We had people watching from Austria in the Danube Valley yesterday and up and down the country. But it's the later on-demand when we circulate it and other people circulate it. So after this event, you'll get access to the complete file of yesterday's transactions and today's. They'll be edited into patches. Rather than send it all to everybody, because nobody will watch all of it, we suggest that you pick the bits you think are most interesting and circulate them to colleagues, and it's free for people to use them. Those of you that are academics from the Open University, the Open University has a license to our archive, which includes 11,000 videos and podcasts of public policy. As I was saying to Ian, going all the way back to Tony Blair's period, we was one of the first people that moved into this narrow casting area for specialist audiences. So enjoy your day. Forget about the cameras, but if you want to know where they are, there's one up there above your head for the stage, there's one over there, and there's another one right up the top. I think Ian from the select committees and others will be quite used to that. Welcome to today's programme. My name's Neil Stewart, and I'm going to be chairing today's events and trying to move things forward. Our subject today is the relationship between business and higher education. Yesterday we had a higher education studio that looked particularly at the issues of business schools and how they relate directly to business and how they teach business. And some of those subjects will come up again in these programmes. But today's aim is to have a wider discussion about the relationship between business and the world of work and higher education. And some parameters. When I talk about higher education, I'm not just talking about universities. 11%, is it still, of degrees are taught in further education colleges. Probably over 200 further education colleges teach degrees at some level, but at the top end, some of them are teaching thousands of students. We have new alternative providers in the market, and people are looking at different ways of delivering higher education. When we planned this programme, we were looking at a period of change, the Higher Education Bill. That was what was on everybody's lips. Well, the Higher Education Bill is still there, and a significant force for change is coming down. But of course, since we wrote the programme for this, we've had Brexit and the nervous breakdown that some people have experienced. But thirdly, there is the apprenticeship levy, which many people in higher education didn't really feel applied to them. And in fact, Universities UK had a special launch along with at London South Bank to try and help waken the university sector up to the implications of the apprentice levy, because it's about a fundamental change in the relationships between education and the world of work, and universities are not excluded from it. And lastly, the big question of what will students do? And we've had this extraordinary period where fees have gone up, and the students have remained the most loyal buyers, no matter what the cost. The social imperative to get a degree, to go to university, has managed to overcome all other anxieties. up to date, and whether we'll begin to see any change in the behaviour and choices of students. That may be one of the big factors. And we did hear from Sarah Hardcastle yesterday, from Carrington Crisp, about how what students value is changing. And it was career, career, career. They were interested and they brought their values to college, but they were interested in the outcome. And will there be a tipping point on that? When we talk about higher education and business, there's one bit I want to rule out for today. I'm not going to invite extensive discussions about research or the ref or big science. Today's the day, I think, that the Crick Centre is opening in London. University's relationship with big business and big science is actually on a very healthy footing. The work going right back to Lord Sainsbury, you know, I think people recognise that. But I want to try and look at, in these programmes, the relationship between higher education and businesses at small and medium level, what kind of research is relevant in localities and regions and business clusters, how knowledge transfer is done and how near market it can be as opposed to pure research, how are universities trying to make students work ready, if I can use that kind of terminology, and how do you overcome the cultural divisions? The referendum on Europe was extraordinary because halfway through it, Michael Gove dismissed experts, and suddenly university academics found themselves being treated like businessmen and bankers, where you're simply given a category. If you're a businessman or a banker, you're not to be trusted. Suddenly, if you're an expert, you're not to be trusted. And I've had lots of conversations with very puzzled people over the summer as to how that could possibly have happened. So welcome to the world of business and bankers. And hopefully we'll hear later today about some of these cultural issues that business is concerned about. So that was what we were hoping to map out. And as with our previous programme, I wanted to start off not with a university point of view, but with an outsider's point of view. So I'm very pleased that Ian Wright, MP, who's the chair of Business Innovation and Skills Select Committee, has agreed to join us. We've had this extraordinary 5 years, or 4 years, since tuition fees went up to 9,000. If you listen to David Willits's slight notes of regret about how little change has come with the extra money, some of his gentle disappointments about lack of diversity or innovation, these seem to me to be the slightly understated concerns that are actually more prevalent amongst business and the political class. So to quote Burns, it's always interesting to see ourselves as others see us. So I'd like to invite Ian to open this programme with his perspective on higher education and business.
Thank you, Neil.